All right, hello and welcome. Sorry for the little bit of a delay there. Still don't quite have all my ducks in a row, as the saying goes. Jeff, how are you doing today? Oh, don't even start. Don't even start. You did get me. You did get me for a fraction of a second. Yeah, I have ducks and I keep them in a row. No, oh man. They really can't hear you. I got a cup of tea. It ain't my problem today. Except it's 100% my problem today. Why is it? Okay, so when you talk, I can see that going. But for some reason, it's the strangest thing. For some reason, OBS does not like your audio that whatever. Go ahead and say something else here.
I don't know what to tell you, Matthew. You're just going to have to get a new computer or something because...
So, okay, first of all, I can actually see you now.
Sound!
And
Texas says sound.
And hopefully I'm not just like killing everyone's ears.
Yay!
I'll try and bring my volume. So for those who don't know, like in OBS, there's a volume mixer area. Professor sound is too low is what they're saying. I've just lowered me a fair bit, and I'm bringing.
I can try to talk louder.
So hopefully, start tugging on wires. I don't think so, Omni. So hopefully my volume level and his volume level will be about the same. So I'm looking at my volume mixer over here.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm looking at my mixer. We're about the same level. I usually try to keep you a little bit louder than me because I know that I get emotive at times.
They're still saying that I'm low. Now maybe I can boost my microphone a bit. I don't know. I don't want to blow your ears out, Matthew.
I think we'll be good. I'll try boosting over here. So we'll roll with this. Look. Now
let me try something.
I don't believe you, Josh.
Is this any better? Everyone out there. Jeff is fine now. Or am I too loud now? Because I just boosted my audio, my microphone level. So
from what I'm looking at, we're about the same.
Matt is too low.
We're about the same. So I'm gonna roll with this. We sound fine. Everyone's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
We're all fine now.
How are you?
How are you? Who is this?
Thomas is probably starting to fall asleep already. Trevor Lauren, it might actually help to have a squad sent up. Maybe they actually know what they're doing and can make this work. Because that'd be great.
Well, while you can hear me, I just want to wish Jordan a happy birthday today. He did turn 18 today. So happy birthday. Yeah, 18 years old. I'm proud of my son.
Wow, happy birthday, Jordan. And Thomas, I feel like we've balanced this at this point. I think our audio levels are about the same. But of course I don't know because I'm not listening.
Now here's the thing.
What's your status?
Here's the thing. You all can see Matthew, but I can't see him in OBS. I'm sorry, not in OBS, but in StreamYard.
It's true. It's very true.
I can't see him. I got the YouTube over here, way over there. I can look over and see him.
Yeah, I don't know what...
Jeff is louder.
Amy's saying that too.
Let me turn mine down a little bit.
See, we're just going to keep dancing back and forth. Like the whole stream is just going to be like this porpoising effect. So yeah,
I turned it down a little bit. Is that any better?
now they're saying I'm loud. I think they're just messing with us. Gosh. Yeah, so Jeff can't see me. I don't know what's going on. OBS is being weird, where for some reason it won't, like I use the virtual camera with OBS and it's worked fine on my other computer with no issues. And for whatever reason, it just is not working at all. Amy's saying they're being honest. Amy, I will make little tweaks. You let me know when we're in the sweet spot, if you would, please. So right now I'm a little on the quiet side, is what I'm hearing. And Jeff is, we're going to leave Jeff as our baseline. He's what I want to match. And now she's saying, no, okay, Josh isn't. So yeah, it's okay. So beyond OBS issues, it's been a weird week in general. Like, it started off weird, and then I had a client get pissed off at us. It was weird because he wasn't mad. Sorry. Some people don't like that word, maybe. Some people might not like that word. It hasn't been a bad word in my house, so I apologize if it's a bad word in your house. So the client was quite perturbed at us, if you will. And he, so it wasn't even that he was mad at us. We had a meeting set up. I had to get up super early because there's a vendor we're working with in some Eastern European country. And so there's a time zone issue. So we get up early so we can specifically have a meeting just with them, and they are no-show. And it's really annoying because we made sure that we had this meeting at like 2 p.m. for them. And so the client that we're both doing work for is just furious. And since I'm the only one there that's not with this company, I'm the one getting yelled at. And like, it was already a rough week before then. So this client's yelling at me, and it goes on from Thursday to Friday. And so I go out for a bike ride because I'm like, I need to get my head clear. Like, I know I'm not in a good mental space. I got to clear my head out and get things moving on track. And so I like to bike, and I like to go in the middle of the day when it's as hot as you can get. So it's been a long time since I've really been biking too. So I'm just struggling. Mile like 19 of my ride. And I'm on this road. It's a 3-lane road. It's like, I make sure I bike when no one else is going to be around. It's a quiet part of the day before the rush hour starts. I haven't seen another car for miles. And this truck rolls up to me, and the guy chews me out for not being in the bike lane. And then after he's done chewing me out, he just goes. And it was so dumb because there is no bike lane. Like, there's no sidewalk, there's no bike lane, there's no other cars around. I'm not slowing anyone down. I was in the left-hand lane because in a half mile, I'm turning left at the light. And for this, and in Texas, it's not this way in every state, but in Texas, the law is you share the road. Bicyclists are allowed to use any lane they like,
right,
of the road.
Right? No, I'm agreeing with you. Right?
Oh, yeah. Texas bike laws are all over the place. Different cities might restrict it, but by far and large, it is share the road. Now, of course, as much as possible, I stay on the right-hand side out of everyone's way. But Jeff is super low now. I'm gonna wait for Amy to make a comment. Matt, yours got louder when Jeff got more quiet. You let me know if that's any better, love. So anyway, it was just like the cherry on top of the week. And man, it took me all weekend, like really up till yesterday, where I got to have a good conversation, with a trusted friend. And, it was just exactly what I needed to get my mind back where it needed to be. So it was a weird week. That's the point of the story. And
sounds like it.
Oh, Nope. Don't play yet. Somehow I have lost.
What?
Hold on. Babylon 5 started to play all of a sudden over in SciTube. And so Thomas, I agree with that statement. The problem is a lot of cyclists don't obey the law. Now here's the counterpoint. A lot of drivers don't obey the law too. Like, it's not just that cyclists are causing problems by not obeying the law. They are. But we're not alone is my point. That it is an equal responsibility and that all parties need to obey the law, and cyclists don't get to be like, well, I don't have to obey the law because drivers don't, and drivers don't get to be like, well, I don't have to obey the law because cyclists don't. Everyone has to obey the law. Which is why if you look at any of my past streams, you will always see that I come to a full and complete stop at every stop sign.
Hey, that's very good of you.
I'm lying. I'm 100%. If you look at my past streams, I've been called out for this on the streams that I go straight through the stop sign. But
you lied. You lied.
You lied to me. What I do is when I come to the stop sign, I make sure there's no cars around. And if there's no cars around, I do roll right through it. Now, if there's a car around, I stop. I'm like, hey, there's other vehicles. I'm coming to a full, complete stop and show them the same respect and courtesy I want them showing me. But I am, like, I do recognize, like, hey, technically that's not what you're supposed to do, kind of. So I'm just poking fun at myself. But beyond that, I am very conscientious because I don't want to be run over.
No, I don't want you to be ran over either. We'd miss you.
Josh is saying that it's against the law in Texas for anyone over 15 to ride your bike on the sidewalk. Now that's interesting.
Now, see, the way he worded it, I'm wondering if he's saying just your bike. Because he said your bike, not their bike, your bike.
It is a very specific law. Yeah.
Yeah.
You may remember that I once almost ran over a little old lady. Well, her son was a politician, and he made Matthew's Law. So, kind of brought that one on myself. Exactly, on your left. But no, it is true. You're supposed to stay off the sidewalk as a cyclist. Now, I've never gotten in trouble for being on the sidewalk. There's actually a very popular trail sidewalk next to a highway in my area. It's called the Cotton Belt Trail. It goes alongside this railroad, and you'll see cyclists on it all day long because right next to it is Highway 26, I think it is, and it is like a 55-mile-an-hour road, and ain't no cyclist going to be on that street. But it's also like a multi-purpose trail sidewalk, so it gets weird. But I do admit there are some places where I will take the ticket if a cop ever is like, hey, you're on a sidewalk and you shouldn't be. I'll take the ticket because I'm like, I'll tell him, officer, it's not safe for me to be on the street here. This is way too busy. Like right after where I got chewed out by the guy, the street I turned left on, I get on the sidewalk right there because that's a major street, heavily trafficked, and I don't want to be run over. So I get on the sidewalk, and I've never had any problems with it.
I don't blame you. I think Thomas is lying.
Texas does have a law making it mandatory for you to own a grill. Well, we're compassionate, and we recognize that not everyone has a space for a grill, which is why we actually provide parks with grills in them. But then you got to do charcoal.
That is true.
But if you own a grill, it's supposed to either be a smoker or propane. In honor of Hank Hill.
Exactly.
And Mercer is saying that in Texas, there isn't a state law prohibiting bike walks on sidewalks. However, individual cities and towns may have their own ordinances regarding sidewalk usage by cyclists. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I don't know. I maybe it's just my area is one of those places that has that law about bicycles on sidewalks. I thought it was a state law. Unfortunately, that's kind of one of the frustrating things about laws, like not just in Texas, but everywhere. For traffic laws specifically, that every state just kind of does it differently. And ignorance isn't really a defense. It's like, well, hey, I'm from Texas. We're allowed to turn right on red. Well, sorry, you're in state XYZ now, and you have to have a sign that says right turn permitted, and this place didn't. Like, no cop is going to be compassionate. They're going to be like, yeah, great. We just made, $100 for the police fund. We appreciate your kind donation.
Thomas is saying it's illegal for him to sleep on a refrigerator outside for some reason. That's
is
an
this
interesting law.
Common issue where you live? And that is one of the crazy thing about laws is they never expire. And so there are so many laws that just sit there on the books forever that no one observes anymore. No one even knows why they existed at some point anymore, but they're there. And so at any point, a police officer can target you for not keeping that law. I forget what state it is, but there's one state where you're not allowed to hang laundry outside on a Sunday. And it's still there.
That's really strange.
Just one of those random things. And that's that's one of the tyrannies of the law, that because it exists but isn't applied equally, at any time it can be used to target someone. It's really kind of scary when you stop to think about it. Mercer, is that illegal though? Because I've seen a lot of documentaries about someone specifically setting up Acme brand contraptions on the sides of roads and painting tunnels on rocks. It was this really weird thing. Somehow he was able to change the quantum properties of the rock face so that depending on your state, you could either phase through it safely or would hit it like a solid wall. I don't know how he pulled it off, but it was really amazing. Well,
I think we're in fantasy land now.
Are you sure? Maybe.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, by
well,
the way,
what do you say
the last 2 weeks we've had episodes. I've shown off my Babylon 5 shirts. I've got my third one on, my third of 3.
All right.
So,
Oop.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. So, enjoy.
Now, tell me again where you get those. They're a print on demand, right? T-Nation?
Yeah, T-Nation, yeah.
Cool.
They've got other ones there too, but those are the 3 that I got. Omni says, Johnny 5.
Johnny 5's alive. That was such a good movie. I really want to show it to my kids. And I kind of started to watch it just to refresh my own memory on it. And I forgot how much we used to get away with on a PG rating. Not when we were kids. Such an overrated movie. Thomas.
I tend to lean a little bit towards what Thomas is saying. I think it's a little bit overrated. Maybe not as much as he thinks it's overrated, but no, I really thought the second movie was a better film.
Kind of leaned into the fun aspect of it more than the first one was almost what if AI was alive before this was even something on people's radars?
Mm-hmm.
And the second one's oh, hey, you know what? A lot of kids liked our movie. What if we make this more kid-centric and really play into the fun stuff?
And it delved more into his rights as a being, as a sentient being. I thought it did anyway.
Maybe I need to rewatch it with my kids.
Hey.
But no, the Short Circuit one and the Not Quite Human with the dad from Growing Pains.
Okay.
I think it was,
I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure the name was Not Quite Human. You all know me and names. So maybe I'm 100% wrong about the actor here, but Not Quite Human. It was about a guy who built a robot that looked just like a human.
Okay.
And there were a couple movies in the series. The first one starred him. The second one, there's like some love interest who also created a robot, but she created a girl, and so the two robots fell in love with each other, kinda, sorta. Let's see. Starring...
I don't remember those movies.
Yeah, Alan Thicke. Alan Thicke? The dad from Growing Pains. I got one right.
You get more right than we give you credit for.
You say that. So we've been going over Esther in the youth group, and the last lesson I taught, I kept getting all the names backwards. I was talking about King Esther and Queen Xerxes, and everyone's like, "Wow, Matthew's really gone woke." He is. And I was talking about how Mordecai was getting hanged, which if you know Esther, Mordecai does not get hanged. It's Haman who gets hanged. And all the kids, they're just cracking up by the end. I'm like, I'm trying, guys. It's just one of those days where I cannot get it right. And
like I mean, Doctor, you need cue cards.
Well, I read off my tablet. I can look down and see the names. I just... But yeah, Esther, all about how God preserved the Jewish people through his providence, which led to the feast of Purim. Cut back on the wine at church. We do grape juice. We're almost Baptist. Josh, not the Robin Williams movies. That is that Bicentennial Man or I know the one you're talking about. He's a robot. Kind of falls. Yeah, Bicentennial Man.
Bicentennial Man. Yeah. See, you get more right than we give you credit for.
I'm shocked at myself. Hey, let's keep this going. What was my prediction last week? Let's see if I'm going to get this right.
Okay. So you said exogenesis, the idea of outside beginnings, that life was seeded by extraterrestrial life. So you had two guesses. You thought, well, one could be focusing on the work of the Vorlons, or the first ones have done, seeding life throughout the galaxy to raise up soldiers to fight their enemies. And they may have done it out of benevolence. Perhaps the monks have correlated the religions of all the races and have started to put all the pieces together. Your second guess was about a Deathwalker scenario where a scientist comes aboard that does unethical, unsanctioned experiments to create sentient life. There are outcries from people condemning the experiments, and Sheridan has to navigate between the two sides. But your final guess was the first one. The monk people are starting to put the stories together, the commonalities between the different races, and that there's a common creator. Yep.
So if it ends up being the second one, well, that's great, but we got to count it as wrong, because even though I talk about it out loud, it's not what I landed on. So it can only be my first guess that counts as being right this week. And as Thomas is saying, probably
your
wrong.
prediction was wrong. But he says that every week. So even when you're right,
yeah. I mean, it's okay. We're about to get started here, but I have to say this one last thing. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but there is a hilarious... I'm not a betting man. I don't gamble, but there's a hilarious bet going on called the Angel Reese bet. And what it is people put money on whether or not Angel Reese will miss the first basket of the game. So she's a WNBA player who... she has made herself have great rebound stats only because she is constantly getting her own misses, just nonstop, miss after miss after miss. So to her credit, she is great at a rebound. Like if I want someone up by the basket to get rebounds, she is phenomenal. Hats off to you. If I want someone to make baskets, not so much. I could make better layups.
In other words, In other words, she should pass it to somebody that can make the shot, but in case
Yes.
they miss, then you want her there to rebound.
Yeah, and she has become quite the heel of the WNBA because she has picked out a beef with the best female WNBA player that they've ever had. And she's just trying to make it all about herself, and everyone's like, you're just not that great, I'm sorry. And she's so furious by this. So people start as kind of a dig at her. They've made this bet, and they have a 70% chance of being right on this gamble. And she's so mad about it that she has started doing takedowns of videos. Like she files false copyright claims, or her handlers or someone related to her does false copyright claims on people who like were doing the video of them like betting on it and showing here's her miss. I am one of the 47 fans of the WNBA. No, so I'm really not. It is only this new girl who's come in that has brought any light to the WNBA at all. A girl named Caitlin.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh, by the way, you did make one other guess last week, and this is a future guess. The White Star gets severely damaged by being outclassed, and they reach out to the Techno Mages to upgrade the White Star. So that's going to happen, according to you, sometime out in the future.
Sometime.
So I'm going to keep that in there, and every week we're going to remind you that you made this guess until it comes true, or until we reach the end of the series, whichever comes first.
We'll see. I stand by that one. We'll talk about that one. But let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. If you are here, let me give my quick 60 seconds. Here we go. If you're here, you know the drill. There's a link at the top. Come click on that link to SciTube so that you can sync up your watch time and we can all watch the same thing at the same time as I get sidetracked and then go, wait, what was that? If you're here in the future, hey, sorry, you can't come to SciTube. You got to have your own copy. There are, you can go to Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it free without ads. I believe it is Roku that has it, as well as, oh, my mind blanked on them. Oh, Tubi TV?
Tubi
TV?
Not Tubi.
Yes, Tubi TV. Both of those, you can watch it for free, but you gotta watch the commercials. They're with ads. Finally, my honest and best choice here, go buy the physical media. Available at Amazon for usually around $79-ish if it's on sale. Find it physically somewhere. Best option, never have to worry about, oh, are they still allowed to stream it? Ubi? Yeah, okay, hey, you know what? I'm not the best lip reader. I was doing my best there.
This doesn't quite work tonight. I have my blue screen up and it's shining through a little bit.
Huh.
So.
And if you can't do that, you just want to hang out with us, you can't bring up a second monitor, you don't have a second device, you don't have your own stuff, whatever it is, we got you covered once every 9-ish seconds. Right here. There we go. Right there. There will be a screenshot. No sound. Please let me know if there's sound because I'm still trying to get all this stuff worked out on my laptop. So that's it. Let's go ahead and hit the play button. I'll give you a quick 3 countdown and then hit that so we'll all be synced up. So 3, 2, 1, hit that play button, everyone. And Josh is saying that Tubi does have a few episodes that are not in order of the DVD Blu-ray, which there have been a few times, and we've talked about that as it came up, where the order really does make more sense differently than the air order, and that the DVD airing seems to be a little more accurate.
And I think we're past that now.
Okay.
Omni says no audio. It's good.
Thanks, Omni. Okay. Oh, it says workers above. I thought the sign to this back left said wonders above. But this guy is very excited about a cargo ship. and we got a promotion of a J.G. Wentworth, where he's going to become a full lieutenant. And we've seen him before, right?
Yes.
He's in ops.
CNC.
And so they're pointing out that Corwin is very uncomfortable right now. He hates being the center of attention. And Franklin points out that his classic fight or flight, and Garibaldi's like, well, why does everything come down to biology with you? How do I get J.G. Wentworth? Well, his first name was J.G. Wentworth is how I always complete J.G. Unless they're trying to say
JG was associated with lieutenant.
And they were kind of giving her a hard time, wondering why she didn't bring a boyfriend, potential romance interest. And she said she didn't think it would be very appropriate. I'm pretty sure that the guy screaming on the ground is not who she was going to bring.
No. And they're talking about Marcus.
Oh, the Strider kind of guy. The British guy.
The Ranger. Yeah, the Ranger.
Okay, I have seen that creature before. But it was crawling into Chekhov's ear last time I saw it, I think.
Well, I think this is a little bit bigger than what crawled into Chekhov's ear.
Thomas is asking...
Omni. He was watching Discovery.
Who, me?
No, the guy that had the creature on his back.
Yeah, Josh, seems like my initial predictions may be a little off. It's not skipping for me, Thomas. And, okay, in all honesty, I have seen that creature before. Not just going into Chekhov's ear. There was an episode of Warehouse 13 where a very similar type thing was on the back of one of the guys, and like it gave them the power to shoot lightning or something. And I want to say a very similar device, or a very similar like symbiote creature, was used in Earth Final Conflict. No. Not Earth Final Conflict. Yeah, Earth Final Conflict. It was another Gene Roddenberry creation.
I don't remember that show hardly at all.
That was the one where you had the gray type aliens.
Yeah, I'm aware of the premise of the show. I just don't remember the particulars.
And that's true, Thomas. The Warehouse 13 episode was a mechanical device.
Uh-oh.
And I have to admit, when I was putting in the names for this episode, and I saw it said that it was guest starring James Warwick, I was initially extremely excited because I was thinking Warwick Davis. And it didn't help that the next guy's name was something small. But I eventually worked it out that no, we're not going to see Warwick Davis tonight.
Wiley Small?
Yeah, Wiley Small.
Thomas says, wow.
And so they were initially, the people who were doing this experiment on the guy, they ran out, they were concerned that security was coming, and they were trying to figure out what went wrong. So it seems like they were expecting the creature to stay on his back, and I don't think they've realized that something greater has happened. That I'm assuming this guy's not going to be dead. That this creature has fused to his spinal cord or something. And has I mean, it healed right after it burrowed into his skin. So I feel like that's going to be a kind of a boon for him, fast healing. I'm not getting the play reference here with Duncan.
Oh, he quotes from both A Christmas Carol. It's Macbeth that he was quoting.
Ah. I have not really read that one more than once. I did get the fact that this guy's name is Duncan. I caught that. I didn't know that superstition that it's bad luck to say Macbeth on stage.
Supposedly it is.
And it's called the Scottish play because mentions of it are supposed to be bad luck in the theatrical industry. Well, that's kind of a fun, kind of a fun fourth wall break almost in universe. Just a nod to the fact that they are still actors in a play here on the screen.
Now, Jason Carter has no problem saying the word Macbeth.
What do you mean I don't like your post, Mercer? I do see you asking what's up with the red and blue uniforms. Are they different in this episode?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
And so they're doing this daily security report, and she's pointing out that they did find a strange dead on arrival male. Which we'll see. I'm still not, or I'm sorry, not security report, medical report. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be dead in the long term. And someone's pointing out that apparently DS9, Mercer was saying it was also quoting DS9, and Josh is saying that maybe it was quoting DS9 because Paramount had the Bible for Babylon 5 before they made DS9.
Oh, Paramount.
And Omni, I'm thinking that the guy we saw screaming at the beginning, where that thing like absorbed into his back, I don't think he's going to be dead. I think he's going to like come back. We'll see.
Despite the report that he was dead by the doctor.
Yes. I think he's only temporarily dead. He's only mostly
temporarily.
dead.
Okay.
I mean, unless they're going to do a second experiment, which fair. Maybe they're going to do that. But it seems like this is the instigating incident of the episode. That incident will be our exogenesis incident, and the stuff going on with Marcus here is kind of our B plot that we're actually going to be doing things with.
Take care, Mercer.
See you later. And so he's curious where one of his informants are. He's confused why he's not showing up because he used to say his work was like the most important thing. So Franklin's doing the autopsy report.
Is this where he wakes up?
And he is saying that he sees dust. I'm assuming he's talking about the drug from last week.
Yes.
And not... Okay.
Last week was not the first time we heard the word dust.
Oh.
It was mentioned before as well.
And so he's saying that there were cut marks on his palms from where he dug his fingers into his own skin so hard. He's saying that it's almost like fear or shock may have been a contributing factor. He's saying now getting an autopsy report from the computer. So there's one strange anomaly on his spine, and we zoom in, and there's like this web thing all over his spine. And Franklin is confused. There's no sign of injury on his body. There's nothing on his record to indicate anything that any sort of surgery or something. He says, I'm going to open him up. Hold recording while I prep. And so Marcus, he comes, hello, Samuel. I haven't seen you in a few days, which may be a bit of a jumping the gun to worry about someone not being in your agency anymore. I mean, maybe he's using few days figuratively. Maybe he just means like a long time. But if it's literally been a few days, like, that's not much. Curious.
Yeah, something doesn't feel right.
It's almost like if you look at the back of their neck, there's going to be, a little thing sticking out of it. Now who's stealing from whom? So Franklin, he gets a piece of this tissue thing off of the corpse, and it reanimates. It starts wiggling around. Oh, and there's Duncan.
Yeah.
And apparently whatever this is, it's 100% genetically neutral. It can exist in any life form. It is the Borg. 100% organic, but assimilates people? Takes them over?
Takes them over. Josh wants to know, Matthew, the guy that they left, did he make it?
It's too soon to tell. He may pop up yet. I might be batting 0 in my predictions tonight.
Yeah, Tommy, you're right.
Yeah, I didn't know that the Samuel guy was Paul from First Contact.
He also played the Ankari captain from Equinox Part 2 in Voyager.
Oh. Now Paul was the one who... Is he the one who, when they were out on the deflector dish, he got dragged away from the Borg and then came back partly assimilated?
He was an engineer. I think he crawled into the Jeffries tube and got assimilated, if I remember.
Okay, Tex is saying that was Hawk. Okay. And Omni is confirming it was the one in the Jeffries tube.
Well, Omni would know. He's part of the collective, so...
So Ivanova is inviting Wentworth on a date, basically.
Oh dear, we got a new name. Woodworth.
And he's terrified. Oh, he's terrified. So she doesn't mean to be doing this. She wants to know, where does he see himself in 5 years? She's trying to be a good commanding officer. And
you might have missed it. Sheridan asked her to kind of feel him out to see if he would be a good person to bring into their little group.
Okay. Yes, I missed that detail. So she comes with the pretense of getting to know him more personally. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he suggests, oh yeah, let's get breakfast in the mess. She goes, no, it's too hard to have a private conversation there. How about you meet me in my quarters? And his eyes get really big. He's like, okay. Because he's thinking that she is, trying to express romantic interest in him. And we're quoting from Charles Dickens now.
Yes. Christmas Carol.
And so Marcus is wanting Garibaldi to come and look into the strange behavior going on with his contacts. And so he goes off on his deal, quoting the Christmas Carol, and Garibaldi's like, you know what, Ivanova was right. You really are a pain in the backside. And he's like, I just want you to come and talk to them. And he goes, look, if they're acting weird, that's not my jurisdiction. Go talk to a doctor. And Marcus goes, ooh, can I quote you on that? So here we are, going to talk to a doctor. And poor Wentworth, so intimidated.
Wentworth.
Bringing flowers.
I gotta type this before I forget it. Wentworth.
This is a great dialogue. So he's trying to figure out what sort of flowers he should bring, and the florist is like, "Well, what's the occasion?" He's like, "I think we're going on a date." And he's like, "Okay, where at? Her place." "Ooh, is she aggressive?" He goes, "Yes."
She is. Wentworth, Texas. Wentworth.
So he says, well, what if this isn't a date? And the florist says, roses never offend a woman unless it's by their absence. Which, fun story, I once extremely offended a woman with a rose.
I don't want to know what you did with the rose.
I gave it to her. That was it. That was it. So, me and my innocence, she had been having, a rough day or a rough week. She was one of my coworkers, went to church with her. We had briefly entertained the idea of dating. Both of us were like, you know what? We don't like each other in that way. And so I was like, hey, here's a rose from one of my rose bushes. I need to trim it off. I'll just leave it on her car, give her a little pick-me-up, because every girl likes getting a rose. She thought it was this other guy who did it. She was furious at him because she had told him no repeatedly, apparently. And then she found out that I gave it to her, so she was furious with me. And she's like, you know what? Usually I'm okay with being friends with a guy, but in your case, I have to make an exception. And I'm like, wow, this is this is phenomenal.
Thomas wants to know, did Amy leave?
No. And so they come into this area where the people are being assimilated, and it's interesting. There's cobwebs looking stuff everywhere. like going into a spider's den sort of thing.
Spider. Oh.
Oh,
Spider shadow?
I actually hadn't thought about it like that, Jeff, but yeah.
Hmm.
And so Franklin is saying that my thought is that it's some sort of alien parasite that it absorbs into the body and it adheres itself, fuses itself to the spinal column and takes over the control of the nervous system. And if there are enough of them, they could take over the entire station. And Marcos is pointing out that it's strange that the people they're going after are kind of like the lowlives. They're not going, like they could have gone after the captain or why not you or me? What? And why aren't they interested in us if they're really interested in taking control? Yeah, why not Wentworth?
It's alive, says Omni.
So Franklin he's talking to them, and saying that man's in pain. Let me help him. Can any of you understand me? Like, did you go through this? Franklin, not exactly the best negotiator. And so we're seeing the difference in mindset between these two people. That Franklin is pointing out that there's 3 men in the room, 2 of them with guns. We're grossly outnumbered. There's no way we can get out. And Marcos goes, no, all we need is one of them to leave. And then there'll be 2 of us and only 1 man with a gun. And Franklin's like, well, where I come from, that still has us, hopeless. And Marcos is like, no, we're good.
Well, what he said was, taking 1 away still leaves 2, not 1. Oh, dear.
Oh, this is just going to get better. And so Ivanova goes, where did those come from? And he goes, I found them there by the door.
Well, welcome, K. Roberts.
And so she says, whoever bought these must have spent a ton. He goes, yes, I imagine. And so she's saying, don't tell anyone, but I've always had a weakness for roses. And she said, well, thank you. If you hadn't come along, someone might have walked off with them. Yeah, swing and a miss. If only he had listened to the advice of the flower shop owner. And so we're seeing that Duncan has some semblance of his previous existence. He's saying that for the first time in years, he has no cough, no pain. And they say, who are you? He goes, well, I was Duncan. And he says, the part of me that was Duncan remembers that you were kind to me, Marcus. And he says, the part of me that is Bendrizi, I think is the name of this species. And he says that the part of me that's Bendrizi says you wouldn't understand, but we left this one so you can watch, so you can understand the process. And so they're saying that the reason the first guy died is because not only was his health poor, but his blood was tainted by strange chemicals. So it seems like the dust made him incompatible with the Bendrazi.
Franklin did say there were a number of other controlled substances as well.
It's true. It could have been any number of them. Yep. Or a combination of all of them.
Yep. Ivanova's coffee plant.
And she's using this as a kind of a fishing opportunity. She goes, yeah, I know hydroponics is only supposed to be used for fruits or oxygen producing plants, but sometimes you have to bend the rules a little bit to get what you want. And she's saying, well, what do you do if there's a contradiction between what's right for Earth and your orders? And he's saying, I don't think I could make that decision on my own. You don't get to decide which orders to obey and ignore.
I believe this first time Joshua Cox, who plays Wentworth, appears outside of CNC.
Oh.
And he loved it.
Yeah, she probably could have come at that from a better angle. Because she all but says that there's people in command going against Earth. Meanwhile, in jail, Marcus also wants to know about Ivanova. And he's saying, when I first came aboard, she seemed quite friendly, but lately she seemed quite distant. And yes, Josh, he was thinking it was a date. Marcos is saying that he senses in her a key yet unturned. He says he doesn't know what it is yet, but he thinks it'd be fascinating to find out. And of course, Franklin, he laughs. It's a bit of a corny line. And so Franklin's pointing out, I can't believe you. Like, we're here in jail. We're probably about to get assimilated by alien parasites. And you're talking about making a pass in front of a. And Marcus goes, well, can you think of a better time?
Some really good dialogue in this episode.
And Marcus is upset that they didn't take him. And they want him to save the guy that they were just trying to assimilate, that it's going wrong. And they want Franklin to pull a miracle. And he says the only way to save him is to get that thing out of his body. And they said unacceptable. Which, kind of like the DS9 or the Voyager episode, where B'Elanna had the insect.
Oh, Paramount.
And so Marcus is saying that if Franklin's going to save this guy, he needs to have his medical equipment. That tube on the end, which we've seen before, and it's the Imbari battle stick thing. It says the...
Fighting pike.
Yeah, fighting pike. And he says all you have to do is shake it twice to activate the scanner. Just check it out. And so, of course, he gets the guy to, pop himself in the face with it. And then he just opens the door? Yeah, I mean, that was my thought too. The door is open? And so this is the first time we've seen this function of the comlink. That at least Franklin's comlink is genetically coded to himself, and that if anyone tries to use his link, it gives a warning message saying that you are not genetically authorized to use this link. If you found it, please turn it in security. And then he's throwing tennis balls, oranges. I mean, it's a clever-ish way to distract a guard, I suppose.
Ouch.
And yes, K. Roberts, Franklin can fix anything with enough stems.
Yes, Santa Claus, Omni.
But when he did try to use the comlink, it did notify Garibaldi or Ivanova. Josh is saying that they did say it was keyed to the one the comlink was assigned to back in season 1. Okay.
I think you're right, Josh. I just can't remember where they said that.
I mean, on the one hand, I think that's kind of weird, but on the other hand, I mean, we do that with our cell phones. If you find a random cell phone, I mean, it's keyed to my thumbprint. You can't just open it, or my face, or security number, or something. And here's the twist. The reason they haven't tried to assimilate anyone in authority is because these people volunteered to be joined. Instead of being the Goa'uld, it's the Tok'ra.
Gold?
The Goa'uld?
Gold, yeah.
Yeah, but these are the Tok'ra.
Tok'ra.
And they're saying that they were created 500,000 years ago. And it's in that in all that time they've traveled through the galaxy in their host bodies. And that they said, we remember music that existed before your kind even learned to speak. And they're kind of jumping around from person to person as they go through this monologue. And they overlap each other as they speak too. So it does seem like, though it is many creatures, there does seem to be some level of interlink between them. I'm not sure if it's one creature across many parts or if it's like a psychic link or something. And they're saying that we find those who are without purpose. And Marcus goes, Samuel, I thought I gave you a purpose. I thought you had meaning to your life. And the Samuel symbiote guy creature thing says, you gave me an outside purpose. This gives me a purpose from within. And Thomas is pointing out that it's not psychic, it's telepathic. Okay, fair enough. And Marcos is saying, I'd trust Duncan, but I don't trust you. And so Duncan debonds from the creature. And so Duncan is saying that, I was going to live and die here. And he was looking forward to the new life, that this opportunity of life this creature was giving him. And that when it bonded with him, it showed him sights from, millions of years ago. That they bond to people and they share the memories. And he's saying our mission is to preserve these memories for when all life falls into a new dark age. That they are the keepers of the past, present, and the future. And Franklin is saying, before I go along with this, I want everything about y'all. I want to know everything about your biology. I want to talk to the patients. I want complete and total verification. Yeah. And he had his link on him? I guess Marcos
he
brought
got it back. Yeah.
And Duncan is saying that it's impossible for him to rejoin. He can't take on another one. It would cause permanent damage to his nervous system. And he says that by tomorrow, I won't be able to remember any of this. And then he passes out, dies, maybe? And so they're doing a wordless conversation here. Sheridan was wondering if Wentworth would be able to recruit it into their cause here, and she shakes her head no. And Duncan is departing the station. He says, I can't stay here. That for a while, I knew what it was like to be special. And I can't go back to what I was. Instead, I need to go and try and find the places I saw in my memories and see them just one more time with my own eyes for real. And Duncan's being very gracious about this. Though Marcos is apologizing for robbing Duncan of this opportunity, Duncan is saying, no, you don't need to apologize because everything you did was because you cared not about yourself, but for me. And so he's very forgiving and recognizing that Duncan was acting out of compassion and not out of, like control freakish. So it's nice that Duncan didn't die from the debonding.
Yeah.
But Marcos, even though he's been forgiven, great haunted look on his face, just at the guilt of what he did.
Marcus is a great character, I think.
And so Garibaldi was asking how is your first time working with Marcos, and he goes, he's good under pressure. He kept his calm, and he goes, but I think Marcos might like to get to know you.
Uh-oh.
And oh no! And now she thinks that Marcos gave her the flowers. And so now Marcos is thinking that this is an overture of affection for him. That's great. And she says, "Keep him," and he goes, "Thank you, I will." Oh. Poor guys, we try our best, and we're just so clueless about everything going on around us.
We can be.
We try. Bless our hearts, we try. And every once in a while we succeed, thank goodness.
Indeed.
And yes, Texas, Ivanova spends the entire episode sending wrong signals. So Jeff, first of all, I was very wrong with both my predictions.
Well, you can't get them all.
C'est la vie. But what did you think of the episode?
Well, I think Wentworth also was sending wrong signals all throughout it, too. I had a low opinion of this episode before I rewatched it before this evening. And it's gone up, I think, with the rewatch and tonight's viewing as well. I think it's a little decentralized from the main arc. So it's not continuing that story of what we've been building up for, two plus seasons now. That's kind of detached from it. But it was a nice little departure from that. We get a lot of character moments with Marcus, and I think there's building there between Marcus and Franklin. They had some good scenes together, some sparkling dialogue, and I think that's building up to something. And you had the comedy relief, which some people liked, some people didn't like, with Corwin and Ivanova. Mm-hmm. I can see it both ways. I thought it was funny myself, so I think it worked for the most part. Now, I don't know if you noticed at the beginning of the episode, Marcus has a package coming from Mars. I wonder what that package is. It's not there yet. I wonder if that'll become important. There was also the report of the Shadows building up their forces in Sector 800.
Oh, no, I did miss that one.
That either. Yeah, it was right at the beginning of the episode. We have a potential problem with Corwin. How's he going to fall on the fight against the forces of the Clark presidency? And Night watch and all that. That can he be trusted? It doesn't seem like it right now. So is he going to be a problem for all this?
Right.
Overall, it was a pretty good episode. Not one of the better ones, but still pretty entertaining.
I enjoyed it in that we got to be reintroduced to Marco's character in this episode. So it's been a while since we've seen him, and when we did see him, we haven't really spent a lot of time with him so far. And so
yeah, the most we got with him was on the White Star with Ivanova.
Yeah. So it was nice to, Garibaldi's question to Franklin about what did you think about him now that you spent some time with him. It's almost like a comment toward us, the viewers. Like, hey, we all haven't got to spend time with him, and this is our first time getting to be with him. So that was an interesting way to bring in his character. What else?
Well, as I was talking with Omni about this episode a couple days ago, and he pointed out that that Marcus is shown in this episode not only as the warrior type, but also he's very compassionate and kind and caring.
That's
how
true.
He treated Duncan.
Yeah.
So he's a very deep character. Omni is saying #influential Kefir. I think Kefir doesn't quite reach the same level, Omni.
It wasn't just Duncan. He also had compassion for Samuel. Where at the very end, we see he had this moment where he's like, I thought I gave you purpose. And again, it wasn't that he felt that he was being slighted. It's that he thought he had genuinely come into a guy's life who was at his lowest and it helped him. And to find out that he was wrong and that the person still felt largely hopeless to the point where he signed up to be bonded, it wounded him in the sense that he was so hurt that the guy was still hurting. Like, he had that much compassion. So yeah, it is a good episode for letting us see who Marcos is, a man of compassion, a man of able to open unlocked doors, apparently.
Yeah, that a little strange how he got out of the little jail cell.
I can only assume that at some point he was supposed to pick the lock, and so I'll grant them that at some point he was able to pick it, and it wasn't just that it was unlocked the whole time.
Omni says he used his Minbari training.
That must have been it. I enjoyed the Corwin stuff. Personally, that worked for me. He really sold it with his eyes about how confused he was by this, but at the same time, like, how okay he was with this. He did great with that.
He didn't know quite what to make of it all.
Yeah. At the same time, I like that it shows that they don't know who they can trust. So even though this was done for laughs and stuff, it really underscores the ongoing problem that we know and they know that the current president of Earth assassinated the previous president and has usurped power and is up to no good with the shadow spiders. And so her roundabout way of, asking, hey, if there are a group of commanders who had to be disobeying orders in order to protect Earth's true interests, like, how would you deal with that? All right. But just the fact that she couldn't trust him. His response was too much of the by the book, almost kind of like a Harry Kim cadet sort of response. Like, oh, well, of course I'm going to trust Starfleet no matter what.
Well, he's still a young officer.
Yeah.
I mean, he just became a full lieutenant. So, was that like 3 or 4 years in the service, maybe 5? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe somebody out there can tell me if how many years it roughly takes, but still a young officer. So
Yeah.
he's going to be that by the book, you follow orders type officer, I think.
Yes, Omni. That's sedition that I'm speaking right now.
Night Watch is coming for you.
So even though like nothing super happened this episode, I feel like it very well fit in and just kind of reminding you of the things that are at stake. That even when there's nothing earth-shattering happening, there's still stuff happening in the universe. They're still struggling with this. They're still trying to figure out what's going on. And I also like seeing that this is one of the races that is, you can't call them the first ones, but they're definitely a very old race. That they were there
years ago.
Yeah, they would have been around during the last war. In fact, they said.
Go ahead. I wonder if we're gonna see these Van Dreezy again, or Vin Dreezy.
I wonder, but I also wonder. How many? They mentioned something during the Revelation scene where they talked about how. Did they say they were created for war? Because they mentioned that they were initially created.
Okay. I missed that if they said that. They're like recording history, so to speak. They're keeping the knowledge when darkness comes.
Maybe they're just trying to say that they first came about during war. So maybe it's not that they're made for war, but they want to preserve. And they mention from one age to the next, almost like they recognize that there are cycles of battles that have happened with the Dark Ones, and after each battle with these shadow spider creatures, the universe is all but wiped out. Except for a handful of races that manage to make it to the next kind of cycle.
Like the Minbari.
Like the Minbari, yeah. Which is kind of like the Halo series, where every once in a while you just gotta wipe out all life in the universe to keep the flood from spreading. I feel like there's another sci-fi series where they had the same kind of idea, where every so often all life in the universe was basically decimated. I guess maybe Andromeda kind of had it like that, where the Magog,
Magog, yeah.
They did that, and Josh is pointing out Mass Effect kind of did the same thing. Yes, yeah. So it happens in sci-fi, but that they are making sure that they keep knowledge preserved. And it is also kind of interesting that they are basically Trill.
Yeah, they sort of are. And the Bible for B5 was presented to Paramount in 1989 before we ever saw a Trill.
Now, hold up. We saw a Trill once before.
Before 89?
Oh, before 89. I can't say that.
That would have been season 3. TNG.
Yeah. When was the Riker episode with the Trill?
Season 4, I think.
Okay, I can't claim that predated it then. Never mind.
Omni says season 4.
Okay. So
he thinks.
Yeah.
Granted, John, he says the idea of symbiotic being is not exactly new.
Yeah. And Texas is asking, was this concept even in the B5 Bible? I don't know.
It may or may. We don't know. We haven't seen the Bible.
Yeah. And when did Earth Final Conflict have its first season? I think that was 91.
It was early, mid 90, somewhere in there, 91, 92. Early 90s.
Let's see.
Was that on like the USA Network or something? Or did they show repeats or something?
I'm so wrong. It was 97. Yeah, 97 to 2002. Late? Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was earlier.
I did too, but no. I guess after TNG was wrapping up, Roddenberry pitched a couple of his ideas. Earth Final Conflict. I think he may have been in charge of Earth 2.
Roddenberry passed during season 5 of TNG.
Which Roddenberry am I thinking of? This was, maybe it was just one of his.
Unless you're thinking of Majel, I mean, sorry.
No, it specifically mentions that it was created by Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, based on his ideas, but I think Majel, pitched those ideas to a production company, and it was made. His Ghost pitched it, says Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Omni says Majel dusted them off.
It was a fun series. It was one of those series that didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, I kind of lost interest in it during season 2, I think, or maybe early season 3.
The first season was phenomenal, and then the main character was killed off, and they brought in a new guy, and he did a decent job. No, I think his name was Kincaid. Kincaid, he did a good job. He did a good job. But then around season 3 or 4, they had these two warring races merge into one, and the show just went in a crazy direction. Was it the final season, K. Roberts? It may have been the final. It went so weird. It went so weird. Not Buster Kincaid. Yeah, like Andromeda.
I lost the story in season 3. It just kind of went off the rails for me, and season 5 was just weird. I tried to watch that.
Or Sliders.
Wow.
All of these kind of suffered the same. There's a writer's strike that happened, and unfortunately, a lot of the shows, especially the sci-fi shows, they lost the original creators, and the new people came in. They tried their best, bless their hearts, but they didn't know where it was going, and it shows. Oh, it painfully shows that they didn't know where the show was going.
Yeah, very true.
All of which is to say, I really enjoyed this episode. It worked.
I'm glad this did not happen to B5. It never lost JMS. He was there all the way through.
Yeah, and Tex is pointing out that it's one thing where Stargate SG-1 got lucky, that they managed to avoid. I mean, to be fair, toward the end of its run, they did the shift to the Paw Wraiths, their versions of it. Was it the Pac something or other? Someone else can remember. the evil Paw Wraith creatures they dealt with, the Paw something or others. Yeah, I know, Thomas. You don't know. Right? No. It was still in.
Says you're thinking of Atlantis.
The Ori. That's what it is.
The Ori.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
That's when they brought in Ben Browder, I think was his name. He was from Farscape, and they brought in Claudia Black.
Claudia Black, yeah.
Which I fully admit, young Matthew, she was one of my first sci-fi crushes. Amanda Tapping and Claudia Black, both SG-1 characters. I thought they were pretty cool.
She would always be Aaron Soon on Farscape for me.
Oh yeah. If you ever get a chance, like if you're a big fan of Farscape, they do an episode of SG-1 where Claudia Black is pitching these different ideas. So she's trying to get big in Hollywood, and so she keeps pitching ideas to this guy who is trying to think of a new show, and she's ripping off of just everything. He's like, no, you can't do that. That's clearly Star Trek. That's clearly whatever. And so finally she does a spoof of Farscape where she's Aaron Soon, and you get this moment where you expect Ben Browder to be reprising his role as John Crichton, but instead it was Daniel's character, the actor who plays Daniel Jackson, playing that, and it cuts back to their reality, and like, okay, you got me. I don't know who you're stealing from. You could get away with that.
And Ben Browder was playing the Stark character.
Yes, yes.
John Crichton, yeah. Yeah, right, Texas.
Yeah, that's it, John. I don't understand why everything in this script must inevitably explode.
The singularity is about to explode.
Thomas is saying, was she played by Brent Spiner? No. Did what? I say Claudia Black?
I don't know where you got that, Thomas. Hello, Planet X. Welcome.
And wasn't that the time Richard Dean Anderson wanted to spend more time with his kids? Yeah, I think so. And so, I mean, the series probably should have been retired at that point, and Atlantis really should have been their focal point. But they kept it going another 3-ish seasons with the Ori, 2 seasons. I don't know. I kind of checked out at that point. I really enjoyed it up through that arc, more or less. I admit it started to get a little long in the tooth for me when they brought in the replicators.
Seasons 9 and 10.
Yeah. But it worked well enough. I said song. Okay. No, they didn't bring in Brett Spiner for that one. Aaron Song. No G on the end of it.
When is Soon? Soon.
Is it Soon?
I thought it was Soon.
Aaron Soon. S-Y.
It's been a while since I've watched Farscape.
Well, so I just tried to type in her character's name, and it came up, like I typed in Aaron, because it's spelled like Aryen, something like that. And it thought I was going for Aryan, and all the results that came after that were just everything you might imagine. So, hey, that's fun to have in my search history. Especially when I got to that S. Like, I put in that S, and it's like, all bets are off. We know where you're going with this. I'm like,
Right. Dear.
But yeah, okay.
S-U-N is how it's spelled. I just put it in the chat.
Yes, that is what I was going for. So with that dangerous rabbit trail, let me come back to Babylon 5. The point is, there were several aspects of this episode that I enjoyed simply because I saw the common through line that you see through sci-fi. And I enjoy the fact that these different sci-fi series can take a common trope and present something new. And the fact that they ended up being benign and everyone was volunteering for them, I felt was a really good twist. And one that they really didn't advertise it. And so it actually genuinely caught me by surprise that they ended up being the Tok'ra of the species. Or Tok'ra of the series. We're trying to get John to sing something? What's the song he's doing there? Oh, often Wong's got a broken heart, can't even tell his songs apart.
I think this is a post he put toward the bottom. John, there were brave men aplenty, all well known to fame, who served in the ranks of the Tsar.
It was Lore's song? Not Lore Reloaded.
It's Lore's song?
Was it? Okay, did he sing it in the... He sings it in Brothers. Okay. Huh. I'll have to go and look again. It has honestly been long enough, a year and a half, since I watched TNG, where I would love to go through TNG again.
Well, I think you still have to finish Voyager first.
Was I doing something with Voyager? It rings a distant bell.
Maybe.
Hmm. 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 Well, not to change the subject from that embarrassing note, but next week we're going to be looking at season 3, episode 8, Messages from Earth. Have we had another Messages episode last season?
Did we?
Was it in season 1? I feel like we had something. Nope. It was "And Now for a Word." That's what I'm thinking of.
So you're thinking of the ISN newscast. Yes.
And I think that's going to be where we're going with this. That it's going to be another episode where we look at things through the view of things that have already happened and how the members on the station are reacting to the things that have already happened. And I think that specifically this is going to be revealed to us, whatever has occurred, by the crew receiving messages from Earth, that they're getting, communiques from their friends, loved ones, relatives from Earth. Maybe I was gonna say maybe this has something to do with the Free Mars movement. I'm not there. I don't think it will be quite there. I think that we're just gonna I'm not sure what the inciting
Free
event
Mars.
Yeah, hashtag Free Mars. I could, rather than being an ISN news special, I mean to say that it's going to be like in the same vein where in the "And Now from a Word," what we saw was basically us catching up with events that have already occurred. And the ISN news report was like, hey, here's what's happening. And while I was on board the station, this really big thing happened. And so the report was her perspective, more or less, as we got caught up to that moment. And so I think that's the same sort of motif we're going to see in this episode, that something has occurred and we are catching up and seeing how everyone's reacting as they get messages from their friends, family, and loved ones. And we're seeing how the crew of Babylon 5 reacts to whatever event has happened, be it something with Mars, which I kind of rank lowly, be it maybe some new level of martial type law being enacted by the president, a step up in the sedition law, anti-sedition laws, something like that. And we're going to see what's going on. So that's my prediction for next week with Messages from Earth.
Sounds like a great episode.
Yeah. And I mentioned this last week, that sick transit ver. So we're a while from there. But I looked ahead in the episode list and I saw that. It made me laugh because there is a phrasing, a Latin phrase, sic semper tyrannis, which is, it's on the flag of Virginia, I think it is. And it means thus to all tyrants. Talking about how tyrants eventually need to be overthrown. And apparently it was shouted by John Wilkes Booth. Because he felt like Abraham Lincoln was a bit of a tyrant for what he done.
So peeking ahead, yes, fear is a tyrant.
Hey,
wow.
I say this a lot. Veer is one of the most important people in Babylon 5's universe. Hands down. Like I think that Veer is going to be so integral to like saving this universe. And even last week, where he was talking about how Londo will surprise you, there's good in him. Veer is such the Jiminy Cricket to Londo. Anyway, that's all my thoughts on this episode and on sci-fi from the 90s in general, apparently. Jeff, final thoughts?
Well, this was a fun episode. We got to learn more about Marcus and good interaction with Franklin. We see Franklin out of MedLab, And I think he tends to
Yeah.
have better episodes when he is. And little comedy relief there with Ivanova and Corwin. Good episode overall.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? I lied. There was one more thing
Oh,
about
No
last week's
lying.
episode. Before we sign off, last week's episode, I was re-watching it, and I noticed that Kosh only stepped in to save Londo when Jakar was learning about the shadow spiders.
Yeah,
And
I
when
saw
he-
your comment on Discord.
And I thought that was interesting. Like, it could be coincidental, but it was very interesting to me that up until that moment, Kosh kind of let things happen, but when Jakar was really starting to dig in, that's when he stopped him. And I
Interesting.
can't help but wonder if I do feel like he was looking out for him at that moment, because, you know, that's the old saying, when you stare into the abyss stares back at you. Like, the more people become aware of the shadow spiders, the faster their timetable becomes. And so Kosh needs to keep this under wraps, or else they're going to advance their timeline. But it was interesting to me. Go ahead.
Omni says Kosh stepped in before Jakar killed Londo. No.
He did. But it was specifically at the moment when he found out that he had some sort of dealings with, Cheap Rod Sterling there. And he wanted to find out everything about that. And Londo said, no, I can't tell you anything. I have no more dealings with them. And then Jakar said, well, then I'm going to drag it all out from you, every last neuron, every last secret. And that is the moment Kosh stepped in. So was he doing it to save Londo? Was he doing it to stop Jakar from finding out too much? I don't know.
Maybe a little bit of both A and B.
Yeah. So yeah, very interesting. I also very much enjoyed Londo's line about the universe is already mad. Anything else would just be redundant.
Again, more sparkling dialogue in this series.
So
And
that's
remember,
the
at
last
this
thing there.
point, JMS is writing every episode.
That's right.
So you're getting some continuity there with the writing. Because you have one voice.
And John DeMarco is saying, what are my guesses about what obscure Trek references will make it next week? I don't know. And Trevor Lerner is pointing out that sic transit ver is Latin for thus passes a man. Ooh. Ooh, a little double play on words there. We'll see if I remember that in the several weeks it will be before we get there. Probably
Nicely
not.
done, Trevor Lorne.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening to my mad ramblings. I fully admit, I love 90s sci-fi. Rose-colored glasses for things from my youth, fair. But at the same time, objectively, the quality of writing we got, the stories we got, they were just so much better than what we get today. Everything we get today is just drama. And the heart and soul is missing. And my goodness, I love being able to watch the Babylon 5 episodes where you get not just drama, but you get heart and soul along with it. I love it, and I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me as we deal with wires taped up haphazardly, volume levels not working. Jeff can't see me on StreamYards. It's a trip, but guys, I appreciate y'all coming with us, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week when we are going to be watching Messages from Earth. Look forward to it.
So am I. Have a good week, everyone.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.